Teamster Power 767 Reality Check with Jeff Schenfeld and Garfield Hooper.
All right, Garfield, we're getting right into this one.
Right into it.
It's right into workers' comp. I mean, we've done it before, but the company is, trying a different. Well, I mean, it's an angle they've done, but they're pushing it more. They're denying a lot of claims.
Yeah.
Okay. And, I think what I've noticed, they get nervous, like they get hurt and they're like, well, I don't want to report it and I don't want to do this. So the supervisor starts acting like a doctor and the whole thing. We don't get into that. If you get hurt on the job, you got to file a report.
Yes.
Okay. And the thing is, don't take the day. They're going to say, oh, just take a day. No, you need to fill out a report and within 48 hours, they have to give you a copy. They can't mess around. And when they talk to you in the office about what happened and whatnot, write it down. Write specifics down because God knows how many times. There's got to be hundreds by now over the years where it was one thing where a guy, here's an example. A guy had what do you get? Something to his like bicep or something like that. They tore his bicep, right? They said it was a muscle strain. He got surgery. He got everything. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, that's doing the wrong thing. That's an integrity issue. And if you're not careful, they're going to put it one way and they're going to make it look different than what you're saying. And what happens? They're going to deny you. If something's late or if it's not the proper paperwork, Liberty Mutual is denying it. I mean, and you had an example recently in your building, right?
So this is with a relatively new driver, and this is something that I try to stress with the new stewards and stuff like that. You need to be, if you're a steward, you need to be approachable. You need to introduce yourself to people. I mean, there's even language that allows for like stewards to orient new hires about the grievance process and about how the union works and all that kind of stuff as well. But it's important that, like there's 130 drivers in my center. Like I can't be everywhere at once. That's why we've got 5 stewards. People that have never worked with a union before, people that have never, had support in a business or with their employees, peers to look up to and answer questions and things like that. They're not used to that, especially in a right to work state like Texas. They get in a position like they got hurt and they came in and they spoke with the supervisors. They reported it. They did the right thing. They reported the injury when it happened. They came in, they spoke to the center manager. They're in a room with 3 supervisors and a center manager asking, that are asking questions and this, that, and the other about the injury. And all of a sudden they're starting to get worried. Maybe they're going to get fired. Maybe this, that, and the other,
Yep.
And the management knows that they can do that with new employees because they don't know any better. And, and I hate to see, somebody get taken advantage of like that because they haven't been approached, because they didn't know. And because I was speaking with this member last night, and it made me feel bad because they were just like, well, I didn't know I could just call you and deal with that. I was like, no, it's fine. Like, you call me anytime you need to. But they're one of the newer drivers, and they mostly stay out of the way and don't talk to people, and they just kind of come in and do their job and go home. And I respect that, but at the same time, it's also our job to make sure they know that they have that support. But they were given the day off so they could rest and come back, and then they even came back and worked the next day after that. But they still complained that it was still hurting them, and at that point they went to seek medical attention. And when they did that, it's been 2 weeks now, and Liberty Mutual just denied their claim. And Liberty Mutual told them over the phone, said, "Oh, you may just because you're hurt doesn't mean it happened at work."
Yeah, that's no good. That's no good. I mean, and they'll bully you. I mean, they're an insurance company. I mean,
Yeah.
they're a big insurance company. They're going to try and bully you,
Yeah.
and you know, try to get through to people that this is your life. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't do it right, if you don't go through the process, it's going to cost you a lot. Not just money, it's going to cost
Yeah.
you, and going through this process the right way, ask questions, and don't be by yourself in an office with 18 supervisors and a manager, and I mean, they're gonna look to do something. And I'm not going to say every member of management, but it doesn't matter. You have to look at it that
Yeah.
way, so you're protecting yourself. And you fill out the report. Like I said, they have 48 hours. You write down notes, exactly what happened. And like I said, don't take the day off. Don't do that. They're hoping you get better. You're not a doctor. They're not a doctor. If you get hurt, and here's the thing, and just roughly based, like with the law, if you come to work with no injury and you get hurt, it's a new injury. When they say pre-existing condition, like, no, you were cleared. If you had a previous injury, you came back to work, it's a new injury. That's it. I mean, they've tried. I mean, they've done that with me. Oh, you got hurt, this and that. Okay, say pre-existing, but you still push. And the thing is, I don't know what the percentage is, but a lot of people won't push. They'll be like, oh
Yeah.
God. But here's the problem what people get into. They're denied. So what do? They go for short-term disability.
Yep.
And that's where the problem really starts, because once you do that, they're going to say you have a claim open for workers' comp, but that was denied. So you got to try and close that. And that's not easy. They won't approve you for short-term disability. Now you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, and it's only because, and I'm not blaming the members. They just, we got to educate them. That's what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah.
We want to
That's what we're
let
trying
them
to
know. Yeah, that's it. And you do it right. And also, and in Texas, I think, is the only state that has it. It's the Office of the Injured Employee Counsel. Okay. They're there to help you against the insurance companies. It's called an ombudsman. It's not a lawyer. It's a free service. It's an ombudsman is someone who takes care of you and speaks to the insurance company, so the insurance company doesn't bully you around. And we'll post that afterwards.
Yeah. I'll put that.
And
I'll put that link up in the description.
I don't know how many times I've sent it to people, thousands over the years, and it's helped. I mean, I've used it, and every little thing, with the company, doing the layoffs, cutting corners. They want to, reduce how much they spend. They're going to do whatever they can to make sure that it's denied, so it doesn't cost them. And like I always say, if we're going to hold the company accountable, we got to hold ourselves. If you're hurt, you're hurt. We're not talking about like begging. If you're hurt, file a report. And, if nothing comes from it, nothing comes from it, but file the report. And I know people are nervous, but that's why you have to be with someone in the office and speak to someone, a steward, and let them explain to you. And here's the one way you look at it. It's either us or them. Are you gonna be scared? But it's about you. You got to be say, no, this is about me. I'm gonna do what I have to do. I don't know. The company will try to make you feel bad, but whatever.
And I'm using this as a little bit of wake up call because my center has had a lot of new hires. Like, I know a lot of people have complained about a lot of like overworking the past, but our center, for some reason, is doing the complete opposite. We've hired like 10 or 15 people this year. And I've got to make a better effort to let the new hires know that they have support there. So that was a failure on my part, that I know I've got to do better and make sure that these members know that they can pick up the phone and call me or one of the other stewards anytime when something like this happens. And I always tell people, like, whenever you have an injury like this, your first call should be to management to report it. Your second call should be to your steward.
Yep, absolutely. And every step of the process is important.
Yeah.
Like I said, you got to look, and when you get a copy of the report, And they'll say, well, no, it goes right in the computer. We can't get, no, it's your right to have a copy because you want to see what they put on there and you'll notice it. It'll happen. Yeah. You got hurt bad, but they'll make it out like it's nothing. And come on,
Yeah.
that's not the way we do things. And just, like I said, we can't stress this enough.
No.
We can't because of the hours that are being put in and by all classifications, things are going to happen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, things happen. I mean, you could be as safe as possible, but things happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is especially, and like you're going to hear us harping on this like we do every summer, especially coming in here. If this injury is related to heat, like report it. Go get checked out. Don't go home.
Yep.
Don't just go home and sleep it off or whatever.
Do not.
That's how we lost a
Yeah.
driver 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, I cannot stress enough that if you're feeling heat issues, if you're feeling heat symptoms, you need to go get checked out. If you need to go get IV or fluids or whatever, please go get checked out. Don't let management bully you into saying, just go home and sleep it off. Go home, drink some water, rest up, cool off, and take a day off. Go get checked out, please.
Yeah, we know the heat is nothing to, play around with. That's like it's life or death. So, and if there's any questions, you can send emails to us, if you're going through an issue and we'll help you out. We're gladly. And then you can and you can help other people out when we help you, and it's very important. So I'm glad we talked about this again. Like I said, we'll talk about these subjects, but this is because an issue came up again, and we had to talk about it.
Yeah.
So
I got two more things we want to hit on before we wrap up this episode. Like I said, in our center, and it seems like some of the other areas around the southern region are getting hit with this piece of paper that says, "Hey, you're being instructed to work under 9/5," and it is, and that's fine. Like if they want to instruct people to work under 9/5, that's their prerogative. But they're handing pieces of papers and saying, "Hey, you need to sign it. The union needs to sign it. The manager will sign it, and we'll file it away." That's not discipline. That is an instruction. An instruction can be given verbally, can be given over the board. It doesn't require a signature. As a steward, and obviously as a member, do not sign that. I had a supervisor tell me I had to sign it, and right in front of him, I looked him in the face, picked up the piece of paper, watered it up, and threw it in the trash.
Yeah.
Do not sign that stuff. Instructions are just as valid given verbally as they are on a piece of paper. This is making...
Yeah.
I don't know why the company goes through a thing like this every year. It's like, well, you got to sign this stuff. You got to sign this. You got to sign that. No, we don't have to sign it. If you want to instruct
like the fake
somebody...
lunch sheets.
Yeah. If you want us to instruct somebody, make the instruction. Just say, hey, you're instructed to be under 9/5. Thanks. You do it right there in front of a steward. Hey, he told you got to be under 9/5. So you communicate with them before whatever time they want you to communicate. If you're going to be over 9/5, then they can make the decision to either help you or leave you or let you stay out. But leave it on them. Always communicate. Anytime that they want to instruct you to be under 9/5, communicate with them by whatever time they want you to communicate with. Don't be wishy-washy about it. If you think you might go over, say, nope, I'm not going to. It's like I'm going to go over 9/5. And they can either send you help or they won't. But put it on them. Don't let them bully don't let them bully you into signing some bullshit. You don't need to do that.
And here's another thing with that. And I don't know if they're still doing it by you or anywhere else in the country. They'd send you a message, be in by 9/5, but also be in by like 6:00. They give you a time. Get all your packages done, deliver all your packages, and be in by like 6:00. That's conflicting instructions. You send a message back. What do you want me to do? You don't just sit there and say, no, they can't give you conflicting instructions. And that's a problem too. When they used to do that, well, they used to avoid, trying to send it to our way, the stewards at the time. And it's just, No, you can't do both.
Yeah,
I mean, stop it.
I've had that happen to me one time. I sent back a response. I said, "Which one do you want? Because you can't have both," and they never responded. And I made the call to finish delivering. If I wasn't going to be told to come in, I was going to finish doing my work. I was going to service the customer because I feel like that's in the best interest of the company, is for me to finish my work. So I do it, and of course they wrote me up the next day. But I'm like, I mean, I was like, I don't care. This is going to be thrown away. You gave me conflicting things. I told you I couldn't be in under 9.5 with the work you give me, and then you instructed me to do both. So, like, I'm not worried about that write up. You write me up for that every day. That'll get thrown in the trash if it ever even gets heard. But I would err on the side of caution in that case. If you don't get instructed specifically to be in under 9.5, to finish your work.
Yeah, and it's plus if there's an instruction before that, you go back to the last instruction as well. But what you do is just send a message back. What do you want me to do? This or this?
Yeah.
Always put it on them. So we're going to talk about one more thing, okay? And this is important. And I've seen posts and different things across the country where members are calling the 800 number on other members. Now, I'm going to put something right away aside. If it's a safety issue, you fear for your life, all bets are off. Okay? We know that's different. But if someone says something to you, let's deal with it within the union. Okay? We don't go to management. We don't go through that whole thing. And, because, I mean, management comes to me. It's like, what are you talking about? Like if I'm a witness or something, I don't even know what you're talking about. What happened? Like I'm not gonna give up another member. I'm just not. And I don't know why people are so quick to do the 800 number. I mean, it's let's not do that. And again, I'm gonna stress, if it's a safety issue, you fear for your life, you do what you have to do. If you call the police, that's different. But if it's just something, you're having an issue with someone, let's not go right to that. Speak to your steward or a member of the e-board, whatever, and try to get this done because, we try to avoid that. I mean, do you have any of those issues that you're building?
We've had some in the past. And generally I tell my people to, like, if you have an issue with another member, like, come to me. I'll see if I can solve it. Don't, like, most people wouldn't consider, and my center wouldn't consider calling the 800 number on another member. I generally can put the kibosh on anything amongst the members because, like, when it comes down to it, I was like, we don't need to do any of this infighting. That's what that helps the company. That does nothing but help the company. If we're fighting amongst each other, that's just helping the company out because then we're not spending our effort fighting them, which is what we need to be doing.
Yep. No, that's it. So I think, while one last thing, it's the weather, the warm weather's here. We're going to say this every time before we leave. You stay hydrated, you go to your cool zone and just take care of yourself.
Yep.
Okay? We're going to say that every single week, and we want everyone to be safe.
Because the company's not going to.
No, they're not. So that being said, for myself and Garfield, everyone have a good day.
We all deal with national language, but on this podcast, when it comes to supplemental language, we deal mostly with the southern region. And as always, it's best to get advice from your local stewards or business agents. If you would like to reach out to us with any questions, we have an email address, 767realitycheck@gmail.com. That's 767realitycheck@gmail.com.
And remember, strong people stand up for themselves, but the strongest people stand up for others.